What was your hold it moment where you knew you would win? My grandfather passed away last month, and the whole family gathered for the will reading. I was devastated because Grandpa had been my closest friend. Every Sunday, I drove 40 minutes to his house to help with groceries and yard work. I called him every single night before bed. When his arthritis got bad, I drove him to every doctor's appointment. My Uncle Doug, on the other hand, barely visited twice a year. But whenever he did show up, he'd lecture Grandpa about proper financial planning and how family money should stay with responsible adults. The lawyer called us into his office that Tuesday morning. My cousin sat quietly while Doug paced around, already acting like he owned the place. The lawyer cleared his throat and said Grandpa's will had been updated 6 months ago. Before he could continue, Doug interrupted. Actually, there's been a mistake. My father never updated anything. I have the real will right here. He pulled out a folder and slapped it on the desk. This is from 2 years ago, properly notarized. Everything goes to me as the eldest son. I felt my stomach drop. I remembered helping Grandpa sign some papers recently, but Doug was speaking so confidently. Maybe I was wrong? The lawyer examined Doug's papers and frowned. I'll need to verify this. Unless we can locate a newer version, this earlier will would take precedence. Doug smirked. There is no newer version. My niece here is probably confused. Grief does that to people. I went home crying that night. Doug was already talking about selling Grandpa's house and liquidating his antique collection. But as I sat in my kitchen, something nagged at me. I definitely remembered Grandpa signing new papers. He'd even asked me to scan them before mailing them. I grabbed my laptop and searched through my emails. There it was, a PDF file from 4 months ago titled Grandpa's Will, Final Version. My hands shook as I opened it. Grandpa had left most of the estate to be split between his grandchildren, with me as executor. He'd written a note at the bottom. The adults in this family only show up when they want something. But then I remembered something else. Grandpa had been paranoid about the paperwork getting lost. He'd asked me to film him reading the entire will out loud, just in case someone tries any funny business. I'd used my phone and completely forgotten about it. I scrolled through my camera roll until I found it. There was Grandpa, sitting in his favorite armchair, clearly stating the date and reading every word of the updated will. He even explained why he was making the changes. The next morning, I marched back into the lawyer's office. Doug was already there, signing papers and acting like the grieving son. He looked up when I walked in. Oh good, you're here to witness me taking care of our father's final wishes. The lawyer asked if I had any objections to the proceedings. Doug waved his hand dismissively. She's just upset. There's no valid update to the will. I've been handling my father's affairs for years. I pulled out my phone and said, hold it. Everyone froze. I played the video. Grandpa's voice filled the room, calm and clear. Today is March 15th, and I'm recording this to make sure there's no confusion about my final will. I'm leaving the house and most of my savings to be split equally among my grandchildren, with Julia as the executor. I'm doing this because my children only visit when they need money, but my grandchildren actually care about me as a person. The video continued with Grandpa reading every single clause, explaining that Doug's constant lectures about money had convinced him to protect the inheritance from greedy adults. The lawyer nodded slowly. Video testimony is absolutely valid, especially when it corroborates documented changes. Doug's face went completely white. That's not, he was probably confused. Old people say things they don't mean. I played another part where Grandpa specifically mentioned Doug by name. I hope my son Doug understands that lecturing me about finances while ignoring me as a father has consequences. The lawyer gathered up Doug's fake papers. These earlier documents are now superseded. Julia, as executor, you'll need to come in tomorrow to begin the formal process. Doug stood up, his hands shaking. This isn't over. I'll contest this. That video proves nothing. I looked him straight in the eye. Go ahead. I've got 3 more videos and all the email records. He stormed out without another word. I walked outside and called the animal shelter where Grandpa volunteered every Thursday. I donated half my inheritance that same afternoon. Grandpa would have loved that.